I have absolutely loved the conversations we've been having all day, and it's good to see so many of you here. Like I mentioned earlier, not many of you were early morning crew, but that's okay. That's okay. We give you time to settle in. Take your time. I'm glad you filled out all these seats because we are about to have an incredible conversation. In fact, I am really excited to have this next conversation with a woman who has possibly captured the whole of the UK's hearts. She's let us into her world, into her family, and especially given us great tips about business and being a real entrepreneur and boss babe. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome to the Black Tech Fest 2022 stage, Patricia Bright! Keep the applause coming. She is not here yet. Yes, that's what we like to see.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Where am I sitting?
Take a seat. We
This
should probably sit next to each other.
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, welcome to Black Tech Fest 2022.
Thank you for having me. This is great. I walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal.
There's a real atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone's really excited to just like share experiences, network, connect, all that good stuff. But I'm gonna get in your business a little bit.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
But it's mainly because so many of us have grown up. Well, I won't say grown up. We've been a part of your journey.
Sure. Yeah.
We've loved watching you, and it's just incredible to see how far you've come.
Thank you.
So first of
so
all,
much.
congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So we're going to jump straight in, talking about a little bit about tech. So
Okay.
you are arguably one of the first pioneers of tech in terms of utilizing YouTube. You've grown such an incredibly large brand. But do you specifically consider yourself to be a tech pioneer?
Definitely not. I don't.
I wasn't sure where he was going.
Yeah, no, I read that and I was like, tech pioneer, not necessarily, but I would say early tech adopter is something I've definitely been, and also I've always looked at tech to find solutions. Okay. So I've just naturally been like, there has to be some technology that solves that problem. And so that's how I ended up on YouTube, is because I wanted to share videos with girls who I used to talk to on forums, and then YouTube was the tech available. So I am an early adopter, I'd say.
Fair enough. That makes perfect sense because, you know, tech is quite a broad word.
Very broad, yeah.
So I guess in that sense, it's you early adopter. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
So when you actually started creating content, editing, big part of it.
Yeah.
Cameras, big part of it. And it's not like how it is now. Like, I know so many people that literally set up a little quick tripod, put their phone on there, and off they go. But you, again, started in a time where content creation was very new. So what was in your first bit of kit?
What was in my first bit of kit? I mean, oh my gosh. I definitely bought like a Sony camera or something. And I remember at the time it being a really big investment for me, like buying that first piece of camera equipment. I mean, it would have been in the hundreds, and I was still like a student. So for me to invest in that, I really felt like this was something I really wanted to do and to focus on it. But that was it. And maybe like there was Microsoft something or the other, which
not
is the
Windows
editing.
Movie Maker.
Windows Movie Maker.
Oh, Windows.
That's the one.
We've been there.
That crashed, and I would spend hours refixing a project. Something was wrong with it. Something would fall down. Something would break. But to be honest, that was the start of my editing journey. Yeah. And if you had the patience for Windows Movie Maker, you could become Steven Spielberg, because that was very real. Yeah.
Listen, I've been there.
Yeah.
Windows Movie Maker was the
That's
enemy
the
of
one.
progress.
Yes.
However, it's where we started. It's not where we're at right now. It's okay. Thank God. So, okay, how did you actually learn about kit and stuff? Because, you know, you weren't a film major or anything like that. You know, you was just a novice. So how did you stay up to date, and how did you figure out what you actually needed?
So this is literally the power of social media. This is the power of the internet. Like, I learned everything I knew, and I know more than I use about technical shooting, editing, software, learn all of the stuff online. There were actually, funny enough, another set of early adopters were filmmakers because they were using YouTube. So then they would talk about 3-point lighting, how they use equipment, what software they use, what lenses they use.
Yeah.
So because that was a content online, I kind of got addicted to learning about the different apertures and frame rates and focal light distances and all this stuff because I learned it all on YouTube, and I didn't have to like pay for courses or classes to learn that stuff.
That's amazing, because that's the thing. I think what helped, like you said, you was in a time where it was actually accessible.
Yeah.
Well, you were able to have conversations with other people, and the power of social media did definitely help that progress. But in general, do you believe that access to tech can definitely level the playing fields for content creators?
100%. As in, like, the things that I was able to learn, like the amount of free information that's available. If anything, there's too much information now.
Yep.
It can be overwhelming, that sometimes you need like a systematic approach to learning how to develop a certain skill. But once you, like, you know what you want to learn, literally all of that information is there that then adds value to people as an individual. So I learned, you know, we don't use HTML anymore, but when it came to like, well, I think some people do, but when it came to like website building, I learned HTML from videos of people showing you how to use HTML or how to write HTML. And then I actually would go back at work when I worked and share my skills. And then they would ask me, oh, build something or do a website or write a blog for us because of the tech that I had learned online. So like it's such a powerful tool.
Yeah, definitely agree. So how has the development of tech influence your creative approach? So you've mentioned, like, you know, lighting, you've mentioned different forms of editing and all that kind of stuff. Was you very much like in a place where you're like, oh, let's be a bit creative, let's use some VR?
Yeah. So there were times where I wanted to get like super creative with content. Like back in the day, some of the edits I did were like, why was I doing this? It was very artsy for me because I thought I was doing.
An example.
Like, you know, back in the day, there used to be like artistic lookbooks, and I'd film at like 50 frames so I could get a super silky smooth transition. Yeah. Maybe I would add like these random jump cuts and edits and like layering and green screen. I might try and actually I love seeing people do that on Instagram now, where they maybe make. They're walking and their top changes color. Yeah, so that is something that they do online. It's technical. They're not changing their outfits. Yeah. But those kind of things are some of the stuff I would have done there. Don't know if it was necessarily tech. Rather, I wanted to experiment with creativity. But again, are they one and the same, right?
Yeah, and I think, again, it's become a lot easier to make a quick reel on your phone than it was back then, where you had to line up the camera, get the tripod, get the everything, make sure the green screen is hanging right. Like
exactly, it's a completely different game now, which means there's even more opportunity to create, and that's where though ideas are what is going to separate like those who are good and those who are not, because we've all got the same editing tools. There's CapCut, there's Adobe, there's Final Cut. There's so much now. Literally, you can edit in Instagram and in TikTok. So literally you don't need half of the software that I still plug in my hard drive and have layers. And I'm
so really though. That's a good question. Like now, how have you adapted? So when you do upload to, for example, Instagram, is it still from a camera, or do you actually use your phone?
So I actually struggled to adapt. So it's so funny. Like I used to, when I started as a content creator, I'd see TV people and I'd be like, you guys are so slow. Because I would meet like lots of people from production companies and like, why are you doing it this hard way? Why are you so complicated? Why do you have so many people? And then now I'm on the other end where there are definitely people who can edit on the go. Within 10 seconds, they've already edited and uploaded a video. And I'm like, oh, I need my laptop and a cup of tea and my Final Cut in front of me. So I've had to learn to adapt to be even faster when it comes to editing.
That's fair. Okay, so now that, you know, you've learned to adapt, we mentioned a little bit of VR before, but would you like to break into some new ways of using tech, or have you thought, I mean, you're everywhere. You're doing so much and in different ways as well, but have you thought about how you could venture more into the tech world?
I mean, I think for me at this, like tech is an everyday part of our lives.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm just looking for any tech that simplifies my everyday processes or makes my life easier.
Yeah.
So for it's like, I use Trello. Trello is a form of tech, right?
Yep.
I use Figma, I use Canva. These are literally tech that did not exist before,
Yeah.
that is game changing today. So I know there's gonna be even more amazing tech that improves my processes. So I mean, sometimes tech can have this like really like, oh, it's all the way over there in VR headset and it's in Web3, but fundamentally it's things that just makes project management easier or helping me with my invoices, and you know, I use Xero for my accounting. Like, so these are simple tech tools that make my everyday existence easier, and that's what I'm interested in.
Very well said. I totally agree. It is definitely a part of our everyday. So let's dive a little bit back into before content creation. So you actually started in investment banking.
Correct, yeah.
So we already know, we can tell she's a confident queen. She knows her stuff. But you took a huge leap of faith from being a full-time 9-to-5er to then full-time content creator. So what was the moment that made you realize, actually, yeah, I think I can do this content creation full-time?
Yeah, I mean, I was a 7 till 10 p.m.er because I worked in consulting, and so those hours were hard.
Wow.
And I only stomached that job for almost 2 years. Like, that was real hard.
Wow.
But I think for me, I've talked about this so many times. I never just made the leap and quit my job and said, "Peace out, everyone. I'm going to be a YouTuber." That wasn't the case. And like now, you can clearly see there's like big business and it's a big career. But then, like, you're giving up prestigious careers and actually really good jobs and really good network for this random thing. So I did the maths, really.
Yeah.
So I think that I was literally at my desk. I was working at Bank of Tokyo, great manager. He was fabulous. And I was actually working on a spreadsheet that we were, like, was for a project. And then I was like, and I'd started doing work. So I was taking online. So I was taking days off to shoot for brands, shoot for companies. And I was like, oh my God, I'm taking my holiday days to do this. I was like, you're just going to keep working forever. And then I realized how much I was kind of getting paid for these deals outside of work. And I was like, okay, if I do this 3 times a week, this 2 times a week, total is X. If I did this over 5 years, I'd make more than I would potentially make as a senior director here in this company. And I was like, yep, I'm leaving. But I did the maths.
The maths was mathing.
The maths. So I was like, okay. But it was a risk. It was a risk. It wasn't something I could guarantee that I was going to get more work, but I could see that the requests were increasing. And then inevitably, I quit my first job, and I haven't had a mortgage at this point in time as well.
Wow.
And I was like, I got cold feet. I was like, I need a job. I was like, no way can you not have a job. And then I ended up getting a job in actually you could call it a tech company, but it was an MCN. Okay. And they were actually my channel management. And so I was like, let me come and work for you guys. So I can work 3 days a week, and then I can then become a YouTuber. And then within about, let's say 6 months, I left full time. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, like you said, you did the maths.
Yeah.
And it was a reasonable enough reason, more than reasonable, to be fair. It was a great reason to leave what you previously was doing. So well done for that, definitely. So for anyone that is thinking of becoming a full-time content creator or entrepreneur in whatever shape or form that is, what are some of the pros and cons that they should consider before diving straight in?
I mean, it's like the simple like life management. So do you have enough savings? Like, if there's going to be quiet times, are you going to be able to handle that? Yeah. Have you got people who rely on you? Do you have a family? Do you have a mortgage? Certain things you need to think of and just be smart about practically. Yeah. That will actually allow you to feel comfortable to create for a period of time. Yeah. I think I would also set like a time frame. I'm going to achieve this goal over 6 months and see what happens, and then have a plan. That would be my main thing. I think it's great to like jump in the deep end, but have a plan and have an idea of what's possible for yourself.
Definitely, definitely. No, that's, if you're making notes, write that down, yes. Okay, so do you actually have any regrets of things that you would do differently, whether it's just in life or the content creator space?
Don't really have regrets, no. I'm not going to be someone who lives in regrets because you can always change things in the future. I think I wish that I had been a bit more maybe confident about like my accolades, like maybe a bit earlier on, which would have made me be more confident to take on some of the opportunities that came my way that I ended up saying no to because I just didn't feel ready for them. Yeah. But I kind of am now living by the idea of you may not be ready for something, but when you're in it, you're going to make it work. So that's where my mindset's at now.
That's a great way to think. I love that. So we mentioned a little bit about how social media has completely changed the way we all create. Yeah. So obviously TikTok, Instagram, they've given us a lot more access, and there are lots of new ways to adopt what you did and to what some of the newer content creators are doing. So is there anything that you mentioned earlier is actually like, you know, being a bit quicker, being a bit savvy with your edits and just getting them out there. Yeah. But is there anything that you've looked at and you thought, nah, I don't really want to...
A lot. And again, I think when it comes to social media, is like one form of like business model, right? So the thing is, right now, there's a lot of trend-based content, but I think what I really want to see and what I think the most long-term valuable strategy is creating a unique tone of voice. So what fundamentally is you? And for me, some of the trends, some of the like random stuff is just not my vibe. And I think anyone who's thinking about creating on social is to really work out what is it that they want to present, like what is their MO, what's their message, and then really follow that through and stick to that rather than trying to be like another identity or another character, because you're gonna have to keep doing it very consistently for potentially like 3 years. So you just have to ensure that it aligns with you as an individual and what you want.
I appreciate that because you've said a lot. You didn't particularly have a viral moment. You was consistent, and your consistency is what got you to where you are today. But again, there's a lot of viral moments that have helped people just blow up and they're taking off, and, you know.
For now, because I've been in the game for 12 years, and there's not that many people who can say they've done what I've done for 12 years and earn consistently a lot of money 7 years back to back. My numbers don't lie. So I think fundamentally...
That's right.
It's true. Thank you.
Patricia Bright says so. That's right.
And I think it's really important for people to really like lean into the truth from themselves, because you can look left and you can look right and you can see the viral and you can see the popular. I've seen people come and go. They're not here today. So like, again, it's that kind of your own path.
That
very
is
important.
Beautiful. That is so well said. And it's so encouraging, because I'm sure there's people out there being like, but I've been doing it for a year. I've been doing it for 2 years. 12 years, baby. Make it count. So, yes, I love that. But I've got to say, TikTok's blowing up. And it is fast becoming the game changer in the world in terms of content creation. And it does feel a little bit like YouTube is getting a little bit left behind. So how do you feel about the change and YouTube not being as strong as it was? Because that's where you started.
Actually, I wouldn't necessarily say that YouTube is not as strong as it was, because its numbers are doing pretty well, and it's bearing so it may be one of the biggest search engines in the world, if not number one. And maybe it's the type of content that maybe some groups of people are consuming is different. But TikTok is a fabulous platform. I think that virality is absolutely amazing. It's actually really enjoyable, and I think it's like a breath of fresh air. And I think there's opportunity, but I think the risk that people have is like only chasing virality and really not building any depth. And the fundamental thing about YouTube is that if someone is going to watch me for 25 minutes, that person is for me. 15 seconds, I can't remember that person's name, face. I don't know who they are. But like, people actually know me, and so they're really invested in my journey. Some people have been watching me for the whole 12 years. They're really invested.
I watched your wedding, babe.
Listen, they've been here for so long, and they can get a fuller perspective of an individual or a brand or a company's message. and people want that depth. So I think the balance is having TikTok, but most of the big TikTokers are trying to get their audiences to come onto their YouTube. So that's what you want.
True.
Yeah, because you get the depth and you get to control it a lot more.
That is so true. Okay, so any TikTokers out there? Take some notes again.
Balance.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about business.
Yeah.
So The Break is an online platform that provides tools to empower young millennial women to learn and grow in their personal and professional lives. I am a part of The Break family.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yes,
I love that.
yes. And listen, she dropped some gems on there, you know, because I am a freelancer, I'm a broadcaster, presenter, and there was one Excel spreadsheet you sent about. It was a breakdown of money. And I was like,
Yeah.
sis,
Yeah.
I needed this.
Yeah, the
Because
budgeter.
if anyone is in the entertainment world, for some reason, people don't like talking about money, even though it runs on money.
Yeah.
So when you put that in part of the, like, you know, curriculum, I was like, thank you for being transparent. To the point where she said, I earned this for this. I was like,
Yeah.
thank you. Because I was going to charge £50 for something I could have charged 50 grand. No, I'm joking. But I wouldn't do that. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's really important that you help educate women about what their worth is.
Yeah.
So what was your initial plan and vision for The Break?
So funny enough, there wasn't a specific plan and vision. Behind the scenes, especially in the world of influencers, I'll be honest, everyone comes to me. Everyone comes to me about money, pensions, this contract went wrong, how much did you get for this, why did they pay this, oh, someone's taken my money here. So everyone was always coming to me for advice, particularly around tax. So my accountants need to pay me because I've given them so much clients, like it's insane. So I was like, you know what, I wanted to do a series where I'm like breaking down this like money side so that if anyone wants to know what the hell do you mean about investing via your pension, what do you mean about setting up your corporation or a holding company. So I was like, okay, you're going to come and I'm going to give you the videos to actually help you understand this more. So that was the initial idea of why I created it. And I was just really interested. I'm really interested in money and finance. And I think my degree's in accounting. I worked in banking for 7 years. I think fundamentally there's this thing about me that kind of, I process stuff from a numerical perspective. You know, I'm about that business. So like, I was like, let me make content around this. And then I had also done a course about actually like the business of influencing, like how to do it and like just giving people that insight. So it all amalgamated into the platform.
It's so good. I mean, like you said, you know, there's so many people that have questions. So the fact that you can create a hub and a community, we can just share resources, is perfect. So do you have any specific top tips for women who want to break into the industry?
Well, which industry? What, being a social media influencer?
I think, yeah, from your perspective,
a digital business,
as an influencer, content creator, and entrepreneur.
What's my specific advice? I mean, okay, my specific advice would be to think about providing value. So that should be like the top of your arc. Like, this isn't about you. So creating content isn't about, oh, look at me, look at me, right? Change the language to, this is for you. So how am I helping you and what do you want? So fundamentally, we're at service. We're either entertaining or we're informing people on an everyday basis. Like, they're checking in on us for their benefit. So I think you should be thinking audience minded first and then create off the back of that. And then if you want to monetize, also be thinking about what would a brand want as well. And then that's how to kind of inform your content and create a content strategy.
Definitely. That makes perfect sense. Thank you. So, I've got to mention, because I mentioned watching your wedding, watching the birth of your children. We've been on a journey with you, girl.
I've really overshared.
No, but it's actually so nice that you let us in. And literally, I think yours is the first childbirth experience I've ever experienced. So thank you. I feel prepared. But no, honestly, you have a beautiful family, amazing husband, you're thriving in your business. How do you balance it all?
Okay. So that, like, I hate this question, this like balance it all, because I really don't believe in like everyone being able to balance it all. That's a lie.
Very
honest. And I feel people feel under pressure to just be successful across the board. Like, it's not true. So for me, like, I'm lucky because, you know, I've been in a relationship for a long time. So that bit is like almost like checked off. Like, you know, if you can't be dating and trying to run a business and deal with the madness in these streets and like be all balanced, like I just feel like it wouldn't work. So there are seasons where certain things get your full focus.
Yeah.
So I recognize that, say, post having like Nova, like we're at home, so I'm with her like really earlier on. But then I've had to learn that there's a season where mummy's all here, and then there's seasons where mummy's not here. Sorry, mummy's head is out of the game. And maybe it's a week, maybe it's, you know, 3 days, but I can't be all things to all people in my life all at the same time.
Yeah.
So I like pick up one thing or two things, and I recognize some things are gonna stop, and then I'll come back to those later.
That makes perfect sense because you can't
do it
literally.
all.
When you said in the streets, I'm like, not the streets.
No,
But
I've seen the mess, and I would not be sane if I was outside dealing with that now. But yeah,
I hear you, and I think it's important that you have mummy time and boss time because yeah.
I can't really function that much when my kids are around me as well. Like my brain it's a different kind of side of the brain.
Yeah.
Like if they're talking to me or like, and I'm like, we can't do this, kids.
Yeah.
So I rather like on the weekend, like there's no laptop, there's no phone. So like I'm just there with them, like doing what I have to do, and I'm in complete mummy mode versus like trying to do both every day. For me personally, that didn't work.
Yeah, definitely. That makes perfect sense. So how about the pandemic? Everyone's schedules changed. Everyone's way of working changed. Was there a specific shift for you in terms of, you know, when did you make time for content creating? When did you make time? I mean, we was in the house. We were literally in the house.
Yeah,
so what did that look like for you?
That's actually when I created the Break YouTube channel, and I basically was putting out videos 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I took a break since then because I really wanted to enjoy life a little bit more. So, I mean, during the time I was just at home creating, I think people decided to get busy or not get busy. So then I just got busy and started to create more because that's all I knew how to do.
Yeah.
I think there's actually, like, I'm calling it post-pandemic fatigue, where actually everyone who was super productive then was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then people actually wanting to enjoy their lives more, which I think is super valuable as well. I think that's where I've been at.
That's good. Live your best life, girl.
I've been trying to.
So you mentioned mummy time, work time. How often do you have Patricia time?
I think most evenings, like
Really?
I switch off. Like I have a more balanced life. I think in the stages of growing, like often you're gonna have to push hard and everything's gonna get sacrificed. Like, and I think that is fundamental. Like for anybody who's trying to build something like from the ground up, just be willing to sacrifice everything. Like, I'm sorry, just sacrifice. But because I feel quite comfortable and pretty established, I will switch off at like 8 and stuff. Like
8's late though.
8's not that late.
8's
really?
kind of late.
Really? I mean, nah.
I've got 6 p.m.
Oh no! Oh,
I mean, it depends on the job.
Yeah, we work internationally, so I got them clients
darling.
in LA be like, "Oh, you got that?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll send you this at that
Fair
time."
enough.
But I might switch off then and then like watch a show or something, and yeah.
Okay, let me take some notes, boy, because this is good. So for you, how do you define success at this stage of your career?
I mean, I think right now, and I think it remains the same, is success for me is being able to have an idea and execute that. So it's like bringing something to life makes me happy. And I think most people have an idea or a dream or something that they want to do. Like they feel that within themselves, but they kind of suppress it, or they don't do it, or they don't try it, or they don't talk to that person, or they don't go on that trip on their own, but they feel that feeling and then they just leave that. And I think that makes someone in the long run, like you'll feel this sense of dissatisfaction. So for me, like being successful is executing on those feelings that I have on things that I want to do. Whether they win, whether they lose, doesn't matter. I'm successful because I've achieved what I set out in myself to achieve. So yeah, that's my definition.
That's beautiful, and I totally agree. Like for some reason, I Googled the word content the other day, and it said a sense of peaceful happiness. And I was like, damn, that sounds amazing. I want to be content every day.
Yes.
Like, just being happy in yourself. And that's exactly what that sounds like to me. Just knowing, like, yeah, I did that. I'm bad.
Do you know what it is? It's like you cannot control any external factor, right? Something's going to happen that you can't control, but you can control like yourself and your decisions and what actions you take for yourself that make you feel good. So like that's what I just try and work towards every day.
Yeah.
Like, my own personal happiness.
Love that. Okay, so you recently tweeted, actually very proud of the direction I'm going in, and I'm bringing on as many as I can. Now, this sounds good. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you meant by this? Do you remember that tweet?
Do I even tweet? I don't. I think I haven't even logged into Twitter for like a year.
This was definitely
Like,
a question from the Black Tech team.
I was like, did I? I think, right. Oh, no, I know why I tweeted that. So I put out a post that was a sponsored post by Google, right? So I've been working with Google on a really cool campaign. You guys should check it out. It's actually about business and like starting up and also social media. And so this is like, I'm working on a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that I'm really proud of. And I think after I posted that, I was like, oh, I'm really glad that I'm posting this.
Okay.
Like this actual like deal that I have with Google was like, this is fire to me personally, but that was it.
Okay, because to me it sounded like, yeah, my auntie's gonna work with me, my uncle over there, my little cousin Johnny, he's coming in too. No, because I can't lie, people, I'm all about nepotism. I'm gonna bring everybody. When you see me at the top, you see my whole family standing behind me.
Love
but
that.
no, it sounds like you're really, really in a good place in terms of your business ventures and opportunities. So that's really good. So you're talking about the Google campaign. Anything else you want to tell us about? Because we really, really love watching your journey. So, again, how can we support you?
I mean, I'm online. I'm on Instagram. You can engage with content if you want to. Other stuff I'm doing, I mean, it's just, there's always stuff in the pipeline, right? Like work, I've been very blessed that work continues to go. And as long as I kind of keep coming up with new ideas, I'll always be able to execute something visible or non-visible. So that's the main focus is. But I appreciated all the support I get.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of any passion projects or like, for example, The Break, that was, like you said, that was birthed out of lockdown.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can expect that's similar to that or venture on from that for the rest of 2022 or beyond?
Probably not anything I could share now.
Oh, okay, so there's tea, guys.
But stuff will happen. Stuff is happening. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay, I would love to open up. There's a lot of people. So, if there's questions, if there are questions, please raise your hand. We've got one question over here. Let's go for it.
I can't see a thing.
Oh, yeah, there. Thank you. It's coming, don't worry. It's being passed along. There you go.
Hi, Patricia. My name's Amber, and I've actually just started making content as well on like education, career, and tech. I just wanted to get your advice or thoughts on, because I work at Samsung at the moment, but I wanted to, because you know back when you was working and you was doing content at the time, I know you sort of mentioned that you weren't really sure about sharing it and you was like not really comfortable sharing at work. Do you wish if you could go back you did share it more and stuff? Because I would never mention it in the workplace because I've been told that like employees don't want to hear like everyone's a bit scared of Gen Z right now.
Yeah. I mean,
and with their side hustles and stuff.
You guys are live wires.
Yeah.
So do you mean sharing with people at work that you do social media?
Yeah.
I think what you want to do is share with the right people. I wouldn't be going straight to my direct line manager who, I wouldn't go straight to him about that or her about that or they about that. Sorry. But I would maybe find out, is there a media team? Is there a social media team? Is there a compliance team who may be like, you're not actually allowed to do this because what you don't want to do is risk your coin or risk your career. So find out first, like, what's the rules around online content and you creating. And then there may be like an internal marketing team who think what you're doing is absolutely amazing at Samsung. They've got campaigns running now. Maybe they'll be like, look at our internal, team worker here who's actually making content. So I would find out who those marketing reps are and like find out what the rules are around that. But I think companies love people who actually are willing to make content in-house.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's cool.
Amazing. That was a good answer and great question, great answer. Any other questions? Oh, there's one at the back, and then we'll go over this side. Oh.
Can we shout them out?
She's coming. Oh, she's going that way. Okay, we're going over here. We'll come to you soon.
Yeah.
Hi, Patricia. I'm May, and I'm a product designer at Twitter.
Oh, amazing.
And the products I work on are helping creators and small businesses grow their content. And I'm really curious to know, like, what's your strategy to promoting your content on social media? And I do know from what you just said that you don't really use Twitter, but what would you like us to offer for you? I'm really curious.
So, like, Twitter, I know, has been super valuable for people growing their businesses and their brands. For me, it just feels like a minefield. So I think if there was a way to curate and manage the madness, that would be really, really amazing. In terms of, like, product feature, is maybe if there was, I don't know if there's, like, a separate feed, which was maybe for, like, people who want to search products specifically. I know we have like hashtags or a way to search, but maybe if there was a way to like aggregate or group like certain products or certain categories or certain services, that would be a way that people who are looking for stuff on Twitter could find it separated from the rest of the noise. You could do a like creator spotlight area, so anyone who is a creator, but it would be obviously like cross-platform promotions. I don't know how you'd feel about an area for YouTubers. I don't know if the Twitter team would like that, but somewhere that allows a spotlight for individuals, that would be cool.
You giving them some real tea right there.
Yeah.
Amazing. Got another question here.
Hi, Patricia. This is so weird. Obviously watching you online and actually talking to you in person in front of so many people. Anyway, my question is, as a content creator, which I am, I'm a micro influencer, very small influencer. How do you manage burnout? That's a big thing with social media. It's so fast-paced.
Real question.
Yeah, it's so fast-paced. It's almost like you have to churn out content like a machine sometimes. How do you, with your years of experience, how do you manage burnout and, preventing that, really, and still trying to produce quality content, give what the people want, make your money, but not lose yourself and not be burnt out?
This is like the truest question, because I think so many people online feel burnout, not just the creators, but even people consuming. Sometimes you're like, I've had enough of this. Let me just throw the phone away. We're done. So from the other side, 100%, all of these platforms want you addicted. They want you keep churning it out. Like you're on a hamster wheel, and eventually you have to come off. You have to be like, okay, how am I going to create systems and processes that work for me? So the first thing you can look at doing is really looking at how you want to manage your process for content creation and commit to that for a period of time and in a healthy way. So I met like the guys at Financial Diet, and she told me she films 1 week and doesn't film or create any content for 3 more weeks. So she's created a system that works for her, and she's built a little bit of a team around her to help. So I love bulk creating up front, bulk stories. I was mentioning this behind the scenes. Like she's like, I thought you were in Croatia. No, I was in Croatia a month ago, enjoying myself, and social media is going to see Croatia today. So like fundamentally finding ways that you can create up front, especially when you feel good, and do as much as you can, and then scheduling that out later. And like I use Trello and Notion all the time as like project management tools, and that's really changed the game for me. So think about systems that you can use to make it sustainable. If not, it's not sustainable. Like it's really hard.
Listen, that was a gem. Went literally backstage. I was like, wait, what? That was last month. Oh, swear down. Fair enough. I think that's really important that people start applying that to their lives if they're content creators. Plan ahead. Like, if it's going to be a piece of information that's going to live online, it doesn't need to drop tomorrow. Yeah.
And actually, something I realized is that a lot of, with TV series or like even with Love Island, it's only for 6 weeks. When X Factor comes on, it's only for 2 months. All of these TV shows that have all these productions, all these people, they're on for a set period of time, and then it comes back next year. Whereas content creators are doing this 5 years deep every single day. Like, you have to come up with a way to think of it in a more strategic way to like sustain your own like sense of well-being.
Definitely. Thank you. Great question. There was a young lady at the back who really... Oh, if you could go to the left. She's on the left side. Yeah.
Or is there a path to the middle?
Okay, and then we'll squeeze if we can.
I want to get to all the questions.
I know. There's so many questions.
Maybe if you've got questions, do you mind like lining up over there so it will make it really easier? Oh, no?
Oh, sorry. Don't have the time.
I don't have time. God.
Hi, Patricia. I was just wondering, throughout your journey, have you ever had like a mentor, and also would you be like open to being a mentor?
I appreciate
Love that.
it. I will say I've had hundreds of mentors, and all my mentors have been people who I've watched online. Like, all of the people who I've watched so many different individuals and learned so much from them. If it wasn't Michelle Phan, it was Jackie, it was Peter McKinnon, who taught me so much about cameras and equipment. Ali Abdal, I absolutely love because he knows everything about productivity. So like mentors are online all the time that like are super valuable. You just need to kind of try and break out of your current algorithm to find new stuff. And would I be a mentor? I feel like I'm kind of doing that. I don't do it normally one-on-one, and but we can have a chat. We can have a chat.
Love that. See? Shoot your shot, girl. Always
I love
works.
that.
Okay. Can we squeeze in? Unfortunately not.
Nice. I'd have been down.
But Patricia, as you mentioned, she is always open for a chat. She's online. She's available. Is there any lasting words you want to give to the wonderful Black Tech Fest participants?
Well, the fact that you're here is amazing because you're going to be the ones changing like the game in the next couple of years because you're finding out more, educating yourself, being inquisitive, and that's all we need to be, like interested in literally being change makers. So you're all fire.
Aw, thank you. Can we give a massive round of applause to Patricia Bright? Thank you, lovely.